Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering something impossible. You're dead. You've been dead for years. And everything you thought was your life, it's actually what comes after. What if life isn't the beginning of existence? What if it's the middle? Or the end? What if you died in another reality and this one is where you ended up? Today, we're exploring a terrifying thought experiment. What if you're already dead and this is the afterlife? Let's find out what that world would look like. In this scenario, let's establish the rules. You died somewhere, sometime. You don't remember it because memory doesn't carry over between realities. You woke up in this world with a full set of memories already in place. A childhood you think you lived. Parents you think raised you. A life you think you've always had. But none of it is real. It was all implanted when you arrived here so you'd have context. So you believe this is your first and only life. This reality, what you call life, is actually the afterlife, and it operates by different rules than you think. So what would that mean? What would change? What would this reality actually be? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about what happens when you arrive in this afterlife. You don't remember dying? That's by design. If you remembered your previous life, you'd spend this entire existence trying to get back. You'd be stuck in the past. So the system wipes your memory. You wake up here as a child with preloaded memories of being born, of early childhood, of a family. But if you pay attention, there are clues. Your earliest memories start around age 3 or 4. Before that, nothing. A complete blank. In this scenario, that's not because your brain wasn't developed. It's because you didn't exist before that. You arrived at age 3 or 4, memories implanted, ready to start your afterlife. And here's the unsettling part. Everyone around you, they don't remember their arrival either. Some of them are real other souls who died and ended up here just like you, but some of them might not be real at all. They could be constructs, NPCs, characters designed to populate this reality and make it feel lived in. You'd never know the difference because they act real. They seem real. They have thoughts and personalities and lives. But in this scenario, not everyone needs to be a real consciousness. Some are just there to fill the space. Now let's talk about what this afterlife is actually for. If life is the afterlife, then it serves a purpose. And that purpose is judgment. This reality is a test. Think about it. From the moment you're conscious, you're making moral choices. Be kind or be cruel, help or ignore, love or hate. Every single day is a series of decisions. And every decision has weight. In this scenario, that's not a coincidence. That's the point. This afterlife isn't a reward or a punishment. It's an evaluation. You're being tested to see where you go next. Because in this scenario, death doesn't end existence. It just moves you to the next layer. When you die here, you don't go to heaven or hell. You go to another reality, another afterlife, another test. And depending on how you did in this one, the next one will be better, worse, or exactly the same. Let's talk about the structure of this system. If this reality is the afterlife, then heaven and hell aren't destinations. They're states of being, and they're happening right now. Some people in this scenario are living in heaven. They were born into wealth, love, and opportunity. Everything works out for them. They're healthy, successful, and happy. That's not luck. That's their reward for passing the test in the previous reality. Other people are living in hell, born into poverty, abuse, and suffering. Every day is pain. Nothing ever works out. Life is a constant struggle. That's not bad luck. That's their punishment for failing the test. And then there's the vast majority, people like you and me, born into average circumstances. Some good, some bad, ups and downs. We're in purgatory. We're being tested again. And depending on how we do, we move up, down, or stay exactly where we are in the next reality. This scenario suggests that existence is a ladder. You climb by being good. You fall by being bad. and you stay in place by being average. And it never ends. Now, here's where this scenario gets really disturbing. If this is true, then you've already lived countless lives. You've died countless times. You just don't remember. Every time you've had déjà vu, that eerie feeling of, I've been here before, that could be a memory bleeding through from a previous afterlife. You have been here before. In another version of this reality, and you're experiencing it again because you didn't pass the test last time. Every vivid dream you've had where you're in a place that feels like home but doesn't exist, that could be a memory of a previous life, a reality you lived in before this one. Your subconscious remembers, but your conscious mind doesn't, and that's intentional. Because if you fully remembered, you go insane. You'd realize you're trapped in an infinite loop of existence, being tested over and over, never truly free. Let's talk about what death means in this scenario. If life is the afterlife, then dying here doesn't end anything. It just transitions you. You die. Your consciousness leaves this body, and it wakes up in the next reality, in a new body, with new implanted memories, ready to start again. You won't remember this life, just like you don't remember the one before it. But the choices you made here will determine where you end up next. Did you live a good life? You move up. Better circumstances, easier challenges. Closer to true freedom, whatever that is. Did you live a selfish, harmful life? You move down. Harder circumstances, more suffering. Closer to a hell state that feels inescapable. Did you live an average life? You stay in the middle. Another round in purgatory. Another chance to try again. And this cycle continues forever, or until you finally pass the ultimate test and break free. But in this scenario, nobody knows what that final test is, or if it even exists. You're just climbing, hoping the next reality is better than this one. Now let's talk about the implications for how you'd live. If this scenario were true, if you knew for certain that this is the afterlife and your choices here determine your next reality, how would you behave? Some people would become obsessively good, helping everyone, donating everything, trying to rack up as many good points as possible to ensure a better next life. But that raises a question. If you're only being good to get a reward, are you actually good? Or are you just playing the game? In this scenario, the system would know. Intent matters. Actions driven by genuine compassion count. Actions driven by selfish optimization don't. So you can't game the system. You have to actually be good, authentically, without expecting anything in return. Other people would despair. They'd realize they're trapped. That no matter what they do, they'll just wake up in another reality, another test forever. So why try? Why be good? Why care? But in this scenario, that choice also counts. Giving up is a failure, despair is a sin, and it would send you downward. The system doesn't allow apathy. And then there are those who would rebel, who would reject the system entirely, who would live however they want, consequences be damned, because they refuse to be judged. But rebellion is also part of the test. And depending on what the system wants from you, rebellion could move you up or down. There's no way to know. All you can do is make choices and hope they matter. Let's talk about the darkest implication of this scenario. If this is the afterlife, then the life you think you remember, your childhood, your family, your past, might not be real. It could all be fabricated. Memories implanted to give you a sense of identity and continuity, that happy memory of your parents. Maybe it never happened. Maybe your parents in this reality aren't even real souls. Maybe they're just constructs designed to give you a family dynamic to navigate. That traumatic event from your past that shaped who you are. Maybe it was inserted into your memory to create a specific challenge for you to overcome in this life. In this scenario, you can't trust your own memories because they might not be yours. Your entire sense of self could be an illusion built for this test. And when you die and move to the next reality, you'll get a new set of memories, a new identity, a new illusion. The real you, the consciousness beneath it all, has existed for eons. But you've never known it, because every time you arrive in a new reality, you forget. So what if you're already dead and this is the afterlife? Your entire life would be a test you didn't know you were taking. Every person you meet could be real or could be a construct, and you never know. Your memories might not be real. Your identity might be temporary. Death wouldn't free you. It would just move you to the next layer where the test continues. And you'd be trapped in this cycle forever, climbing or falling, never knowing if there's an end. You'd have no proof. No way to know for sure. All you'd have is this nagging feeling that something is off, that life feels like a test, that nothing is quite what it seems, and you'd be right. If this video made you question everything good, hit subscribe because we're going even deeper. Thanks for watching, and if you've already died once, don't worry. You probably won't remember this one either.